Well, welcome 613 Golfers. I am your host, Jeff Botter, as always, and you're listening to the 613 Golfer podcast, brought to you this week by Ping Golf and the all-new G425 family of irons, hybrids, drivers, and fairways. Check it all out at ca.ping.com. Now, it's kind of hard not to talk about the elephant in the room. Obviously, another week has passed since the last episode of 613 Golfer, and we're still not golfing. So, it's hard not to see that the continued escalation of anxiety and anger, I guess, frustration with the government and not having golf open to us. But everybody, I've been asked a number of times as to, our position on that and where does Flagstick stand and why hasn't Flagstick come out and voiced a strong opinion for golf. And well, the biggest reason for that I'm not going to touch on this too much this episode, because we are kind of continuing to kind of just repeat ourselves. And it's the same way on social media. I know you have a voice that needs to be heard, but we are really just repeating ourselves. We're yelling and screaming and saying the same things over and over and over again. We're not getting any different results, but I guess if you need to vent, you need to vent, and social media is the spot to do that. It's probably not helping. It might be hurting a little bit. But anyways, our position is because we're a golf media outlet. We tell both sides of the story. We keep an open mind, and we're opinionative in a way, but we have to be that way impartially, because we have clients and golf courses that feel strongly that maybe the right decision has been made for the safety of everybody, and we have golf courses and clients that feel the opposite. And obviously, golfers are going to be sitting on the fence in both ways, and we respect that and we appreciate that. And we're just going to wait it out. If it's May the 20th, it's May the 20th. If it's this weekend, it's this weekend. There's nothing we can do except let the groups that are working in our favor work in our favor. And that's the thing, is that we do have NAGA and the We Are Golf group that is really doing some stuff behind the scenes. And I just don't know if people clearly understand how much work and how much effort is going into trying to make the right convincing arguments and about why golf should be happening, and they're doing what they need to do. So we just need to let them do what they need to do, and we'll get through it, and if you really take a look at it, people, look outside. This is, we could be golfing because there's no snow on the ground today, but a few days ago there was certainly a lot of snow on the ground and nobody was playing any golf. So look at the weather. The golf industry is going to be fine. When golf comes back, golf courses, good luck getting a tee time. You're going to have to book your tee time so far in advance to get one, and maybe slide in through the odd cancellation. But if last year was any indication of what this year is going to be like, golf courses are going to be ridiculously busy. Driving ranges are going to be ridiculously busy. The industry is going to survive through this. Even if we don't have full F&B, they're going to survive through this, because prior to all of this, we had full F&B, but nobody's golf course was sold out. Nobody. There were tee times. You could get tee times almost anywhere you wanted to get on almost any day. Here and there, hit and miss here and there, but for the most part, if you wanted a tee time, you probably had a good chance of getting a tee time. I know from my position, I know what golf courses wanted to promote through us, through the website, the things that they were promoting, the 2-for-1s, the 4-for-3s, the twilight deals. There isn't any of that. Golf courses are full. So where we lose out in one area, which might be the F&B, they gain in the fact that there's no available slots, that leagues are sold out, their memberships are sold out. Now, it's not across the board, but that is a pretty significant number of facilities that are in that position. So, we're going to get through it. We're going to be fine. We have to sacrifice a little bit right now, but there's a lot of people sacrificing a lot more than we have to. So be patient. If you really need to go for a walk, put your clubs on your back and go for a walk around the block. I know that's just, it's a little bit of a joking way of laughing through it, but it's not funny, but it is what it is. So, or you can do what I did and I want to hit balls. There's nowhere to hit balls. So I went on Amazon and I found a hitting net on Amazon, and I found the connection pieces for a pipe frame, and I ordered the piping from Home Depot, curbside pick up that, brought it all home, put together my 10 by 10 by 10 net, hung my netting, put a hitting mat in front of it, and just ordered a launch monitor, not an expensive one, just a personal launch monitor to give me some numbers. And lo and behold, if anybody's watching on YouTube right now, you can see there's a picture to the side of me of my hitting area. And, my wife and my 2 boys and myself hit balls to our heart's content, keep the swings in check. And we can actually, I don't have a picture of that, but if we turn around on the mat and hit the other direction, there's a 55-yard par 3 going the opposite direction. And not everybody's going to have that, but we do have a little bit of property, and we've had that for a while. But now we have the hitting net. So practice till my heart's content. Boys can hit balls. My wife can hit balls. We're good. And you can do that too. And all of that, I think, costs, for everything, including if you had to buy the hitting mat structure and everything, is less than $1,000. So if you want to do something like that, it takes up all of about 10 feet by 10 feet by 12 feet of space in your yard. So giddy up, go for it. Now, another little elephant in the room is obviously the whole situation at Tillsonburg. And I'm not going to get into this very much at all because, frankly, it's not a 613 thing. It affects us a little bit in the 613, but it's not a 613 thing. So I'm not really going to go down that road too much. But, we have rules, and we have to follow those rules. And unfortunately, whether we agree or we disagree with government decisions and bylaws and stay-at-home orders and so on and so forth, the rules are the rules, and they have to be enforced. And this is what happens. I don't think that what the golf course in Tillsonburg did was helping us very much get golf open by basically rubbing it in the face of the government that we don't care what you think, we're going to do what we want to anyway. But, again, I'm not a politician, and I'm not going to go down the political road. So probably not the best move. They're paying the price for it. If they want to keep paying the price for it, I guess that's up to them. If people want to golf there and take the fines, well, I guess that's up to them as well. So to each their own. Now, all that is now pushed aside. We've got a little bit of news out of the way, a little bit of what's happening going on out of the way. I want to talk about our guest this week. I'm really very, very excited about this guest. And, one of the things about golf in this region is that there are so much variety of different people in the industry. Whether it's a course owner that, does something else on the side, of course owners that are amazing woodworkers, and they do all their own work around the shops and their clubhouse, and you don't really know about that stuff. And I'm going to find out more about that stuff and bring those people on to talk about it. But this individual is, in the headlines a little bit right now. He's a very well known teaching professional from the Ottawa Hunt, but he's also very well known for his being a musician. I'm talking about Dave Kalil, who's a teaching professional from the Ottawa Hunt. And, we know of him as the piano man, as well as we know of him as a golf pro. And Dave's agreed to come on with us this week and talk about his journey to becoming a golf professional, but not losing sight of that one thing, his first passion, which is obviously music. Dave's going to join us after we get back from the message from our sponsor, Ping. And we're going to talk to Dave and find out a little bit more about the Piano Man Golf Pro. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Ping, our culture of curiosity has been driving innovations for over 60 years. Innovations like the new G425 iron, which brings you greater distance without sacrificing the forgiveness and control you need to play with precision. And with free access to the Arcos Caddy system, you'll play smarter and shoot lower scores. The new Ping G425 iron, better by every measure. Get fit today.
Visit ca.ping.com to learn more about G425.
Well, we're back now, and I'm really excited, like I said, about this, our guest this week. I think he's going to have some interesting stories to tell, and if maybe he's sitting in front of the piano, maybe he graces us with a little bit of the tinkling of the ivories and a little song. to break up all this madness, as he has been doing for months during the COVID-19. So without any more delays, let's bring on our guest, Dave Kalil. Dave, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, Senators.
Yeah, go Senators. No playoffs, but man, they have been playing some good hockey, eh?
They have been fun to watch. Anyway,
certainly have. It's not a hockey show, but it is a 613 golfer show. So how can you not talk about the Senators inside the 613, right? So
plus I'm wearing it, right?
Yeah,
so.
That is true. That is true. Well, Dave, I'm really excited to have you on the podcast with us. The thing about this podcast is it is all about golf and those in the industry throughout the 613. And as I mentioned before we brought you on, your story of how you became a golf pro is a little different than most. Is, not every golf pro is played junior golf and high level amateur golf, but a good chunk of golf pros have a pretty significant golf background where this is what they've been doing for years and years and years, and it just naturally they're going to go pro or they're going to become a golf pro. But in your case, that's not the background that you particularly came from, but you got here somehow. So I want our listeners and our viewers to know Dave Kalil. I want them to know the Piano Man. I want them to know how this guy who was a musician decided, why decide to become a golf pro?
So I guess we could I fall into stuff. That's my life. I'm not a planner, never have been. So I started playing, I'd be playing in high school, just fooling around and, girls like that. So I ended up playing quite a bit. And I did amateur hours and stuff, but I never thought, I went to Queen's University to be a doctor.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you just floored me with that one.
Yeah, well, now I'm a golf doctor. But anyway, so I went to Queen's and I ended up the second year I would rent an electric piano during midterm. So I failed out of there. I did a special, what I call a 2-year agreement with us, me and Queen's. So I did the 2-year program, Dave Kalil program. And one day somebody said, they're auditioning somebody down at this place called Jay's Steakhouse in Ottawa on Wellington Street. And I said, okay, I'll go down. It was a Monday night. I was really sick. I couldn't sing. I was like, and the guy saw something in me and he hired me and I played there for a year. And then, so I just fell into that. Right. So fast forward, I never golfed as a kid. I went to Russ Fawcett's driving range once in a while and hit a few balls, but I was a sports guy. I played baseball, football, basketball, and I'd swing off my back foot and try to get it in the air like every amateur does. And then somebody took me to Eagle Creek just for fun, just to play when I was 36 years old. So I turned 36. Somebody takes me to Eagle Creek. I finish hacking it around. I'd probably shoot about 130. Right. And the guy at the last minute tells me, why don't you put your thumb over here? On the 18th hole at a 9-iron.
What did he wait so long for?
I know. I'm slicing everything. I'm hacking everything up all over the place. But he says, why don't you try putting your left thumb over here a little bit? And I put it there and I hit just the purest, sweetest shot I'd ever hit. That Kevin Costner says it rings in your loins. And then I finished that game and I went up to the top of Eagle Creek. If any of you have ever been at Eagle Creek before, you look back and you're looking over the water and the water's shimmering, the sun's setting. And I lived out there. I lived out near Dunrobin. So I thought I have to do this. So I went and bought the plane rights from one of the equity shareholders who wasn't going to use it as a golf course because it was too far. And I played 80 times a summer for the next 4 years. And I got down into the 70s, shot in the 70s in my 4th year. So I'm 40 years old by then. And then, what story is this? But I fell in love with it, right? I mean,
stay with me, Dave. Stay with me, okay?
Sorry, it's the musician part of me. But I'd play probably half of those rounds were by myself. So I just figured it out, and I always called it a 4-hour holiday. So I go out and I just relax and get away from everything. I was still playing music at night. I still do both to this day. Well, I did until COVID. So then I'm playing in a bar one night, Whispers on Richmond Road. It's smoky, it's a crappy night, and I'm usually pretty good at getting the audience with me. And they were not listening. And I just thought to myself, like, what am I going to do if I don't like this anymore? Because you can't fake that, right?
No.
You can't be in a bar singing and fake it.
No.
I couldn't anyway. So in that moment, I remember I said, I'm going to learn how to teach golf. And it just came to me like that. So I fell into that. Next day, I called Kevin Haim, whom I had met maybe a year before, and I've been hitting balls at his range, and he sold me a set of clubs, Henry Griffiths.
My gosh.
And I said to Kev, and I caddied for him a couple of times. We had become pretty good friends. So I said, I want to learn how to teach golf. And he said, okay, just come on out and we can hang out and shadow the guys and watch what they do. And I did that for a few months. And then he started letting me teach a little bit. Don't tell the PGA.
I don't think they care.
But just as like a learner's permit. So someone would always be there with me, and I learned how to teach a little bit, and I have a good way with people. I have very easy way of communicating with people, and I like figuring stuff out. So it was just a super natural fit, So like 5 years after I started playing, I turned pro.
Wow. Now, do you remember, Dave, the first time you and I met? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I remember, so I'll fill you in. But do you remember the first time that you and I actually came face to face and had a chat?
Yeah, of course I do. No.
You don't? Okay. No, that's fine. It would be a very obscure moment in most people's memory, but
was I bugging you to be on the cover of Flagstick?
No, that's your buddy John. That's the King. The King has been bugging me to be on the cover of Flagstick for, I think, his entire PGA career, as long as he's known me, and it hasn't happened yet.
I always have that over him.
And you will hang that over him for a very long time.
Yeah.
The first time that you and I met was actually at Kevin's driving range at Double Deck.
Okay. Yeah.
And you were hitting balls. And I think as I continue to tell this story, you might start to clue in. You were hitting golf balls, and I had been out there speaking with Kevin about marketing related stuff, I'm sure. And I went out onto the tee line and was kind of walking around. And I saw you there, and Kevin and I had been talking about you in his office at one point, and I came out to talk to you, and you were hitting golf balls, and you were working on moving the ball, shaping the ball. And you said how, it was easy to cut the ball. You had no problem hitting the ball left to right. You said you were struggling, trying to figure out how to just on demand move the ball right to left. And I told you
this now.
I knew you would. And I told you my trick.
Me.
And I told you my trick. And I'm not anybody knows me, I am not a golf pro. That's Scott. No, I'm not a golf pro. I can golf. There's, I can hit the ball, and I can move the ball, whichever way I want to move it on demand. And I have my secret, which is not a secret. It's a common way of doing it. It's not the only way, but I told you my secret, and you did it the first time. You did what I said I do, and you pulled it off. And and that was it. That's the first time that you and I met. And as they say, the rest is history, Dave.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, so, that's really good. Because I have a terrible memory for certain things. Like I remember people, but I don't remember situations very well. But that's I remember you telling me point the club face at the target and point your body where you wanted the ball to start.
Yeah, and swing along the lines of your body.
Along the target. Yeah. Oh, so cool. I use that every day.
There you go.
Not every day.
So, okay, so you obviously you make this decision, I want to learn to teach golf. So you learn to teach golf. Now, becoming a golf pro is not just a case of saying you want to teach golf and going and teaching golf. You still, nowadays there's a little bit more to the education side of it, but when you did it, you were still you were in between the two programs, were you not? Like kind of the old PACE program and the new, you weren't quite at the new order of where things are now, but
I was before PACE.
so you were even before PACE, so you still had to apprentice.
Yes. So
Okay.
I did a 7-year program.
So yeah, so it was 7 years. So I was just going to get you to kind of touch on that a little bit. Like how long from the time that you decided you wanted to teach golf, how long did it take you to, you obviously had to play in and play out, and because it was in those days, you had to play in and play out unless you played in and played out in the same event. How long did it take you to go from, I want to teach golf, to I'm a Class A golf pro and now I can teach?
Class A took a long time, but I played in almost immediately, my first attempt, which I got lucky. I had a buddy of mine caddying for me. It was at Amherstview, and it was hard as rock.
Yeah,
right? You couldn't land a wedge on the green and keep it on. Right? You probably know that.
I know Amherstview. Yeah.
So I think we had to shoot 276s, I think. So I shot 73 the first day. And then the second day, I'm making a couple of bogeys down the stretch. I look at my caddy, I go, "Can I make a bogey here?" He goes, "Just hit the effing ball." Like he was getting frustrated with me because, when you need to shoot a number, it's hard, right? I mean,
yeah.
When you're just playing and you're kind of just shot by shot, you're not focusing on score, and that's a big lesson for people to learn. But anyway, so I played in the first time, and I played out at Ottawa.
Okay.
So I played in, played out, and that part wasn't the issue. I did all the apprentice stuff, like the seminars and all that kind of stuff. My one anchor was my education, so I didn't have a post-secondary education or a business degree. So I slipped through the cracks. I think I could say this now, but I slipped through the cracks. I signed probably 3 resignation letters to the PGA of Canada with the intention of resigning because I didn't have my education. And I don't know what happened. I just kept slipping through the cracks, and finally they, in recent years, I can't remember how long ago, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, I did my Class A exam, and they accepted the fact that I had owned a bar and I had run my own business, being a musician, as my education. Okay. I think they're just kind of desperate to get people in there. That's a whole other
I'm sure that they're glad that they did. Why it happened or how it happened is quite irrelevant now, right? I mean, it's the rest of that story is history, right? So
yeah.
So now you've slipped through the cracks, you've got your Class A, and now you're teaching, and obviously you taught at Kevin's place for a bit.
Taught with Kevin for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I went to, Kevin was associated with Eagle Creek and Canada at the time. So I did a half a year at Canada and half a year at Eagle Creek. And then a buddy of mine at the Hunt Club said, "Why don't you come over to the Hunt, teach at the Hunt?" Can we go there yet? Do you want to go there now? Or?
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay, so I said, no. I said, why would I want to do that? I have lots of clients out here and they're not members of the Hunt Club. And I couldn't teach anybody who's non-member, right?
Yeah.
So he said, just try it out. So I went there every Monday, I think for the first few months. And they liked me, and I kind of fit in with that, with the membership and the demographic. And I just started teaching there. I became the head teaching pro. Tim Moore was the pro at the time, head pro at the time. He said, he hired me. He said, "I want you to look after the teaching part, the instruction part of it. I don't want anything to do with it. You run it. You got it. You go with it." So immediately I was the head pro at the Ottawa Hunt Club, our head teaching pro.
Yeah.
It blew my mind because in my head, I'm still a musician.
And that's the uniqueness of this whole story, Dave, is that you can reflect back and say, okay, I went to Queens on a special program. I became a musician. I fell into becoming a musician. I ran with that for a while. I fell in love with golf. I wanted to teach golf, so I did that. I got through that. I got my Class A. I taught. I had a good clientele. And now I'm the head teaching professional at the Ottawa Hunt and Golf Club. I mean,
Really? You can't write that.
It's ridiculous when you think about it, but it's not ridiculous if you know you. I guess that's my point, because I know you, and obviously a lot of other people know you very well too, as Dave Kalil, the golf teaching professional.
Right.
Kevin must have saw something in you as a person and potentially as a teacher to take you under his wing, because Kevin doesn't just randomly choose people to just decide, I'm gonna mentor this guy and see where this goes. Like, that's not Kevin.
No.
So there's something there. So and now where you are, it's extraordinary to see that. And I'm happy myself that I had the opportunity to see you before it all happened, and then watched it happen. And seeing the success that you have now it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable when you think about the story, but it's not really as unbelievable as you think when you know who you are as a person, that you got to this level.
I'm still shocked by it.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked. Like, I go to the hunt club, I go, I'm the teaching pro here.
Yeah.
And one of the nicest places on the face of the earth.
It is beautiful.
And what's that?
It is beautiful.
And I owe a lot to Kevin and Lisa, for sure, because they I actually won Teacher of the Year in Ottawa, in the Ottawa zone.
Yeah.
In 2018. And I was so nervous in my speech. You wouldn't think a stage person would be nervous giving a speech, but if I didn't have a piano in front of me, it was like, so it was a fish out of water, right? I think a live comedian, stand-up comic has got to be the worst job, the most frustrating, crazy, stressful job in the world. So, but I neglected to thank them. I like to thank them now, because they basically gave me my start. They kind of flipped the rules a little, bent the rules a little bit to have me teach, because I'm a 40-year-old. And I said, because you're supposed to work shop time and all that kind of stuff. I said, and I told Kevin, I said, you'd be wasting me.
Yeah.
If you put me in the shop. I said, I'm great on the tee line. I'll be really good out there. I'll be great with your people. Just don't put me in the shop, And I've never worked shop time. I've always just taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how the era that you went through, Dave, to become a teaching pro, and the way you went about it, the shop time stuff is irrelevant now. The guys that are teaching, the guys that want to be teachers don't go through that part of the process,
right?
Unless they happen to be at a golf course that wants them to go to work shop time, but it's not required.
We had to. Yeah. Required.
And of course, that's all changed now. So if you were to start doing the program now versus going through it when you went through it, you might not get away with the education part of it, but the other stuff you wouldn't have to worry about. I know, we don't have millions of followers on this podcast just yet. We might have a lot of PGA guys on. All right, well, listen. So that's where we're at, and before we get into a little bit more of the current day situation and what you're doing and what you've been doing, I know you got a keyboard in front of you. You never not. Yeah, I know you have a keyboard in front of you. So why don't you grace the audience of 613 golfers with a little bit of music, a little bit of song before we go back into a little bit more of talking.
Is there a tip jar?
There's always a tip jar. I'll put it right on the screen there. If anybody's listening, we can't see your keyboard. I know I've watched you on Facebook do your thing, and we'll talk about that. But you say what you want to say. You want people to visit you on your website there, or send you whatever. We're still doing some stuff here. So
I'm kidding with the tip jar.
that's okay.
What do you want to hear? I don't know.
I'm an old school. I like the old school music that you sing.
Well,
so
you're a lot younger than I am, though. So what's old school for you?
Oh, let me think. I don't know. You do a little anything Bob Dylan?
Yeah, I could do Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting too dark to see. Feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Sing with me, Jeff. Knocking on heaven's door.
Nobody wants to hear that, Dave.
Not in these days. Oh,
Yeah.
You mean you singing or this song?
No, me singing.
Yeah.
Give me a little one of your favorites, Dave. I know you've got sing a lot of songs and play a lot of stuff, but there's got to be something that's a little bit a go-to for Dave Kalil, that just a crowd pleaser.
Crowd pleaser. Well, there's Piano Man, obviously, right? So
Let's go a little upbeat. Let's go something really upbeat.
all right. Can you hear the piano okay?
Yeah, there we go.
Something like that upbeat?
Yeah, that's in the realm, but let's bring it up, Dave. Bring it up.
Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like a kind of torture to have to watch a show. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started. Okay, yeah, so there's I don't know, there's little Burton Cummings. Revving on my engine, baby, like 747 on the satellite on me. And I mean, revving on my engine, baby, like 747 on the satellite on me. That kind of stuff, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
On no other golf podcast are we getting live music like that. Now, come on.
Imagine. It's like interviewing Peter Jacobson.
Probably, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, Dave. I wouldn't be surprised if it's almost exactly the same thing, except I think you're a little better.
Jake Trout and the Flounders.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he was a little better golfer, though.
That I am not going to deny.
Yeah.
As good as you are, Dave, I know you've had plenty of $5 money games, but
You know that I've not bragging, but I've actually won 6 professional tournaments.
yeah, I know.
You know that?
You're no slouch at the game, Dave.
Crazy.
It's
Like I still can't believe it. It's like I'm not bragging. I'm shocked.
You shouldn't be shocked, Dave. You know, it's funny because hard work and passion are two of the things that you know, for me as a person in the golf industry and in life, those are things that I, you know, and I instilled it in my kids too, is if you have a passion for something and you work hard at it, then you can get there. I mean, who knows what level that's going to be? I mean, it's, you know, I have a young lad that's a hockey player and he plays hockey at a high level, but if he never makes it to the NHL, which maybe is his dream, it doesn't mean that you work and you don't work you know, hard to get there. And just because you don't make it to that level doesn't mean that you haven't succeeded, you know, but you're never going to get to that level if you don't put in the effort and work hard at it. So you've done the work. I mean, that's the thing. You're passionate about the game. Clearly I can see that, and anybody else that knows you can see that. And you've worked hard to get to where you're at. It's not like you just kind of think, I want to teach golf. Okay, I'll be the teacher at the hunt. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into getting to that point. Plus, you have to be good at it, to, you know, or nobody's going to take a lesson with you. Just because you are the head teaching pro at the Hunt Club doesn't mean that you're good at it, unless you know, people. If you're not going to be the head pro at the Hunt Club if you're not good at it,
That's a good
So,
point.
you know,
That's a
you
good-
got to be good at what you do. So, and you are. So don't be shocked by it, Dave. Now, the music was kind of a really, you know, was a nice treat for everybody, but the music is one of the reasons also why I wanted to talk to you on this podcast. And
Okay.
COVID hits. You can't play. Well, you can play a little bit last year, but and teaching was difficult. And now we're back here again, locked down, not able to teach, not able to get, you know, close teaching with your members. But you didn't. You kind of took the golf side of it and you went back to the music, and you started doing live concerts of your music on Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that led to some charity stuff, and that led to a little bit of a mention that I'll let you tell. But tell me about the doing the stuff on Facebook and the charity work and how that all kind of went from. It's another one of those journeys that went from here to it went from here to there. And so tell us a little bit about that.
So I consider myself super fortunate. I've been playing for 45 years now, playing in bars, music, and played with Kalil and Israela back in the day. And I did a lot of solo stuff. And the last 19, 20 years, I've been with Tyler Keeley and Todd Huckabone as the dueling pianos, right? I think you've been there.
Yes,
You may not remember.
I do. I remember over at the casino, the Rito Casino, when you were over there doing the dueling pianos, and downtown at
Tuesdays.
Fat Tuesdays. It was down there. Yeah, no, I've fallen at the Marshes. You did some stuff out there too, and
Yeah.
well, Trish and I have followed you doing all that stuff. So
Awesome. So the fortunate part for me is that I've never been out of work. You know, I'm not, I guess typically musicians are always looking for work or whatever, but I've just been lucky. And I've found a way to play in the same city constantly without people getting tired of me and me getting tired of them. So when that stopped in March, I mean, we were playing 2-3 nights a week, 2 solid nights a week, every week. And then we get extra, like a private party or a birthday or something, you know, a festival or. So that just stopped. Like my whole livelihood stopped. Everything quit. And one night I was just playing just for fun. I saw somebody do a show on Facebook, and I thought, kind of cool. Let me just do a song or two, right? So I just flipped on my little Facebook live stream thing and started playing. Right?
yeah,
And then in like 5 minutes, 30 people were watching. Right? So I'm like, could be something. Again, just falling into it, right? Never planning anything, just happened to fall into it. I did 2 shows a week, every Wednesday, Saturday. Like, I have a great following. Like, I really, like, over 45 years, I remember people, and I've really made a lot of connections, right? So I'm playing to people in Vancouver, in Indianapolis, in LA, in Australia, in England, like just people all over the place, which is the really unique side of doing this Facebook show, right? As opposed to playing in a bar. So I started playing, and we'd get 70, 80 people every show, right? So kept going. I did it all through took about a month off in the summer because I think August was really nice weather and people weren't really tuning in at that point. So I came back again and in October, and then or September, October, and then in November, one of the guys on the show says, "Hey Dave," he messaged me. He said, "I'll give you $1 a head for everybody who shows up to your show, and you can just donate it to your favorite charity." So that started the whole thing. It's just organic. The whole thing's organic. My whole life is organic, probably, you know. But so we started, and we've done. I mean, it's our 53rd show coming up this Saturday, and it's a massive one. We've raised over $85,000 for local charities. Just me and the piano. me and the iPad, and my friend Aaron producing. And my people are just so generous and so loyal, you know. So this Saturday is a big one for Shelter Movers, which is a charity that it's a volunteer organization that moves women out of abusive, violent homes. And their volume has gone skyrocketed through COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great cause, and we've got a lot of sponsors, and we're going to go break the $100,000 in charity mark. So it's just fell into it, but it's awesome. We did it for the food bank, for Shepherds of Good Hope, like just smaller charities that don't have, you know, a lot of funding and stuff, you know. Anyway, it's been pretty cool. Who would have thought I would ever be like a fundraiser guy? I'm usually just a fundraiser.
There you go. Well, the fundraising has raised a lot of funds, and obviously that doesn't just get recognized or noticed by the people that tune in and the people that know by following you on Facebook how much money you've raised. That actually reached the highest levels of government, didn't it?
Well, it reached the provincial legislature.
Well, that's the highest levels of government in this province, anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, tell me a little bit about that mention.
Well, one of the people I've met through the show is Colin McSweeney, and he has a connection in the legislature. I guess he's connected with the Conservative government or something somehow. Don't listen to this, Colin. And suggested my story to Jeremy Roberts, who's the MPP for Ottawa West Nepean. So they just did a blurb on me. It's really bizarre.
But again, Dave, it's phenomenal, and it goes to the whole story. So it ties it all in from the piano playing guy that wanted to teach golf, to the head teaching professional at the Hunt Club, to seeing something that was a negative in COVID hitting and you not being able to do the dueling pianos and the thing that you like to do off the golf course and off the tee line. We'll be back there. I know we'll be back there soon, but you took that and you turned it into something positive for a lot of people in the community. And then it gets recognized that, you know, within the highest level of government in the province. I mean, it's just an extraordinary story, and I'm like ridiculously glad that you and I were able to have a conversation like this about this on this podcast. And like I said, we don't have millions of viewers and listeners on the podcast. It's new. We're just trying to get things going. But when I can have people like you, who I've known for a very long time, on this show talking about your story and how we got to here and what that's all meant, that's a lot. That means a lot. It really does. And you should really be happy with what you've accomplished, Dave.
I'm super proud of what we've been doing, for sure. It's all a blur to me. You know, it seems like it started yesterday.
But it didn't.
No, it didn't. As you can see.
I had a full head of hair, Dave. I'm sorry. And I wear a hat every day.
Yeah, well.
Well, listen,
yeah.
You know, again, thank you so much for taking some time today. I know you've had some busy things going on, and I
have nothing but time.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here, Dave.
I'm
Thanks
unemployed for the first time in my whole career.
Yeah, we'll be back there. Look it, we're gonna golf, and that part's gonna come back, and then you know, gradually, you know, the restaurants and bars are going to get open for people again. We're going to get through all of this, and things are going to get back to whatever the normal or the new normal is, and life will go on. And the good thing is that we're on this side of the earth, and we're moving forward. So thanks again, Dave, for doing this. You know, congratulations on the successes that you've had thus far. As a golf professional and as a musician, and I'm looking forward to continuing to watch the story get written for you.
Nice. Well, you're part of the story, obviously. You taught me how to hit a draw.
Well, that only helps you take money away from King. So
yeah, I birdied 17 at the Marshes with that shot.
There you go. So
I know.
I feel like I'm part of your
You
golfing success. Thanks so much, Dave. I really appreciate it. All the best to you, and we'll talk to you at a golf course soon enough, I'm sure.
Thanks, Jeff. Good luck with your podcast, man.
Hey, no worries, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem.
Okay.
Well, it really doesn't get any better than that. What a great interview and a great chat with Dave. Congratulations, Dave, on everything that you've accomplished as a golf pro, as a musician, and as a combination of both. You're doing not only good for the golfers and helping them with their golf swings, you're doing good for the community and helping them with your music. So thanks for doing what you do, Dave. Well, as we always do this on the podcast, we're going to take a trip out to the lesson tee. We're going to talk to our good buddy Kevin Haim and see what Kevin's got in store for us this week on the lesson tee. Take it away, Kevin.
All right, golfers, time for a quick tip, and this is for those of us who are a little less flexible. I used to give this tip as just a drill, but frankly, I use it on the golf course now, and you can too. And here's the tip, very simple. If you're finding yourself a little bit inflexible into your backswing, you can just take your trailing foot and pull it a little bit off the line. Now, I still want you to keep your thighs, your waist, and your chest square or facing the golf ball. But by pulling this trailing foot a little bit off the line, it helps encourage a little bit more turn into my hip, and I get behind the ball better so I can hit the golf ball more from an inside-up path into the ball. Here we go. So I stand over the ball with great alignment. Then I pull the foot back a little bit, turn into my back leg, and hit a decent shot. It just helps me feel like I turn better. Try it next time you're playing.
Well, thanks again, Kevin, for another outstanding tip. I hope everybody's been enjoying them. As I do remind everybody this week, Kevin's providing us just these tips every week on the lesson tee, and you can check them all out at kevinhaim.com or at flagstick.com. And also, don't forget our anniversary series of tips with Kevin. Obviously, it's our 25th anniversary this year, and Kevin's been gracious to do a little special 25th anniversary series with us. First one was in the last edition of Flagstick. You can check that out on flagstick.com. Next one's coming up very soon in the May edition. I'm not going to give anything away, but it is a really good tip. It's a little bit of a blast from the past once again. So thanks very much for that, Kevin. Now, this is the point in the show where we talk about our favorite hole in the 613. So this week, Jennifer Boyd from Canada selected the 12th hole at Greensmere on the Premier course, a cool little par 3 downhill, ranges somewhere from 115 to 175 from the back tee. Be careful of the water in front. It can swallow up a lot of golf balls if you're not careful with your club selection and paying attention to the wind. So thanks very much for that, Jennifer. We're actually going to send you a couple passes to play Greensmere once everything opens back up again. So I know Jennifer mentioned in her email that she's not a member at Greensmere, but she really does like the course and likes that hole. So there you go. You'll be playing Greensmere once things open back up. And anybody else that wants to submit, jbotter@flagstick.com, send that submission in to me. Send along a photo if you want. Otherwise, we can track down a photo so we can put it up on the YouTube channel. We encourage those submissions. We're getting a lot of them, and we encourage more. So thanks very much for that. Now, looking forward to the next episode, we're going to have Scott McLeod back on with his regional golf report. And Scott's going to fill us in on everything that's been going on in the 613, although at this point, it hasn't been a lot of golf tournament action. But by the time we do the next episode of the show, maybe we're looking at a little bit more news and information that we can share with you. So tune in for that. I really know you'll enjoy everything that Scott's got to say. That's about it for me for this week. And I want to thank, obviously, our guest, Dave Kalil, from coming on, and the piano man, and talking with us a little bit, getting a little bit more information about him and his journey and how he got to where he is now. I want to thank Kevin, obviously, for doing another great tip each and every episode. We do appreciate that. Big thank you to our sponsor, Ping. We can't do these things long-term without sponsors. There's bills to be paid, and we're really fortunate that we have some good sponsors, and Ping has been gracious to be our sponsor for the last couple of weeks and is in for quite a few episodes this year. So thanks very much to Ping. Check them out at ca.ping.com, and you'll learn more about the G425 family of golf clubs from Ping. Now, hopefully we're golfing, and next episode we're talking about golfing, but if we're not, be patient. It's coming. We're going to golf. We haven't lost that much of the season. It was an early season to begin with. We haven't lost that much of the season. So we're going to be okay. Don't worry. Now, if you're loving these podcasts as I'm loving doing them, you can obviously download them at Spotify and at Apple Podcasts. You can visit flagstick.com. You can check out every episode we've done to this point. You can check out every episode we're going to do as we release them. You can visit us on YouTube. We do encourage that. Just like I said before, there's a lot of things that we do with the podcast in video form that you don't see in audio form, because obviously you can't see anything in audio form. And we do encourage you to go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the notifications bell, make sure you get every single episode, like us, subscribe. We appreciate that. And yeah, so have a great week, everybody. Get out on the links if it's there. And if it's not, don't worry about it. We'll be golfing soon. And always remember, go for the stick.